Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here. It's such a joy and pleasure to be able to join you in this weekly study this week one more time. This week, we have a very special video message prepared for us by Masaaki-sama, video message number 20, entitled Food. Food is something that we need, and it's indispensable to our daily lives, right? It's essential. Without it, we can't live in this physical world, correct? But do we really stop to think about it? Have we really acknowledged or even looked into what it means for us, what the food does to our bodies, right? What is this relationship between us and food? Through this video message, we get to see that in much more detail, and above that, to see how Meishu-sama saw nutrition, how Meishu-sama saw food, and what it means for Meishu-sama. For a long time, I thought I understood Meishu-sama's point of view on food, and I thought I understood who Meishu-sama was, right? I had this image of Meishu-sama, and as we are learning from this video message and the sacred words that we're receiving from Masaaki-sama, the true Meishu-sama and our image from Meishu-sama probably differ quite a bit. I look forward to start looking at this with you this week. So stay tuned as we begin right after this. Once again, welcome everyone. Let us, in the name of Messiah, which is one with Meishu-sama, one with Jesus Christ, recognize that it is by God's grace and Kyoshu-sama's permission that we are able to have this study this week. Without the holy seed of Kyoshu, without Kyoshu-sama, without Masaaki-sama, it would be impossible for us to have these weekly studies and receive the true will of Meishu-sama. So with that thought and that gratitude engraved in our hearts, let us begin our study. Let us also recognize that our ancestors are alive within us, and all their thoughts, all their feelings that we feel during the study as well as during the day exist and are being shown to us by God, so that together with them we can return to God, who is also alive within us, as he receives all humanity, all creation, and nurtures us to be born anew as his children, messiahs. So with that in mind, let us begin with the church canon. Church canon. With great fear of God, we acknowledge that the Lord God is our true Father, the one and only God. We revere Meishu-sama as the model for all humanity and as our own example to follow. Meishu-sama, who was born anew as the true child of God, the Messiah, by receiving the divine will that God accomplished in heaven. We believe that Jesus Christ, who 2,000 years ago embodied the name of Messiah, the name most holy and high, is serving the Lord God in unity with Meishu-sama. And we regard the sacred word of Kyoshu-sama, who reveals to us the will of Meishu-sama in this material world, as the sole, absolute, and irreplaceable foundation in advancing our mission here on earth. Words of prayer. God, I acknowledge that you are alive. Within me, you are alive. I thank you for nurturing me to be newly born as your child. May this blessing be shared with all. In the name of Messiah, which is one with Meishu-sama, I surrender myself to you. Please use me as you wish. Thank you very much. Every week we have a Instagram post from our mother church, and this week I chose one that comes from Kyoshu-sama's hymns from the September 2023 collection. And in this hymn, Kyoshu-sama shares the following. Why are we here on earth? It is to serve in the divine will, the will to turn human beings into God's children. Kyoshu-sama. One more time. Why are we here on earth? It is to serve in the divine will, the will to turn human beings into God's children. This hymn is very strong, right? And I think it's crucial for us. I mean, the more that we internalize this and realize this truth, then it puts into perspective everything about our lives, right? Everything we're experiencing, everything we're feeling, and the very way we live in this world changes, right? Our interaction, especially with God, changes when we come to realize this truth. And it is with this truth in mind that I like to receive today's sacred word, Masaaki-sama's video message number 20, food, right? Keeping in mind that we are here to fulfill this will of God, this divine will that will turn human beings into God's children, right? And in service to that, how we live our lives. So with that in mind, I like to play the video for you today and come back to it with a few thoughts and reflections.
Today, I want to talk about something completely different, about food. Let me start with Meishu-sama's sacred word, the life of faith I have walked. He wrote, "I want to live, I want to live." That was all I could think of. This made me visit a doctor. My heart already ached for the poverty-stricken life of my father and mother. And what is more, I was required to take expensive medications. I cried and cried. Tears welled up in my heart, and I had no way of stopping them. But how miserable I was who was forsaken by God. Even though I was able to get a diagnosis from Dr. Irisawa, a leading figure in the medical world at the time, it was too late. There was no chance for my lung disease to be cured. "Young boy, you must give up." The doctor didn't actually utter these words, but I knew it full well. And I thought to myself, the only hope for surviving is through a miracle. In my endless despair, I yearned for something, perhaps a light, somewhere in the distance, barely discernible. My heart unconsciously looked up at it. This compelled me to quit all my medications and meat eating that my doctor recommended. I went on a strict vegetarian diet and let my illness run its own course. Then, how strange and mysterious, day after day, my health began to improve. And before I knew it, illnesses that caused me so much suffering were completely gone. Meishu-sama, who was given up by a doctor and whose only hope for surviving was a miracle, cured his illness through a strict vegetarian diet, of course without eggs or dairy products. Through this experience, Meishu-sama learned that food could affect health and that great were the effect and advantages of a vegetarian diet. Throughout his life, whenever he had any type of purification, Meishu-sama always went on a strict vegetarian diet. Not only that, he cured his wife's illness through a vegetarian diet and also made members who came to receive jore, that is, members who were sick, practice a vegetarian diet too. Apparently, most of them were cured through a vegetarian diet. Still further, he warned us of the negative effects that meat eating could have on the body. All of you might already know this as he wrote it and said it so many times, but Meishu-sama repeatedly taught us that the cause of cancer is simple. It is due to meat eating. He wrote, "It is said that the most feared illness today is cancer, so let me write about its cause." Well, the cause is very simple and straightforward. It is due to the accumulation of toxins from meat eating. Even for those whose health is in good condition, Meishu-sama said that if you must eat pork or beef, keep it under once a week maximum, for it clouds the blood. He said if you must eat. In other words, he's saying that if you can avoid eating it, avoid it. And here, he was talking about men. For women, he did not recommend eating pork or beef at all. As such, Meishu-sama's understanding of nutrition was completely different from the one that was advocated by science and believed by people back then, and that is believed by people today too. Meishu-sama said that even though people might think that meat, which is believed to be high in protein, gives them energy, strength, and power, actually it is the opposite. Meishu-sama taught us that what gives people energy, strength, and power is in fact vegetables, and that meat eating weakens people. He said, if you eat meat, of course it weakens you. When his chefs prepared meat for him, Meishu-sama said to them, Don't make me eat these foods that lack nutrition. Please serve me vegetables as they contain more nutrition." While it is true that Meishu-sama did eat meat mainly in the form of fish and occasionally chicken, he had a strong belief that humanity should move in the direction of having a vegetarian diet. So that there is no misunderstanding, I should add that Meishu-sama's staple food was of course a grain, that is, rice. Grains should always be the main part of one's diet. He taught us that with nature farming, the taste of grains and vegetables will improve dramatically, which should make people turn into vegetarians. And he said that vegetarianism is one of the prerequisites of the world of Miroku, a paradise on earth. He's essentially saying that when a paradise on earth comes, all people will be on a vegetarian diet. Meishu-sama said to one of his close assistants, "When vegetables are delicious, people will eat them more. This will change human nature itself. Social evils and diet are related. As the world of Miroku approaches, people will have to eat a vegetarian diet." Reading all these sacred words of Meishu-sama made me realize once again how important the farmers of nature farming are for the construction of a paradise on earth. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all those who, on a daily basis, put so much effort into the practice of nature farming, into the fulfillment of Meishu-sama's wish. Thank you. Keep in mind though that Meishu-sama was not advocating vegetarianism out of some ethical or environmental reasons, something quite common in the Western world today. Rather, he was advocating it for the positive effect it can have on the human body, on our health. Of course, if the natural environment improves as a result of vegetarianism, Meishu-sama would not deny such benefit. But we have to remember that the main purpose for Meishu-sama in talking about diet was for our body and mind to be healthy. After all, The motto of World Church of Messiah when Meishu-sama was alive was to construct a world completely free from illness, poverty, and conflict. Okay, everyone, how are you taking this message? What I don't want you to feel is that, oh, from now on, I can't eat meat, or I have to eat this and that, or I have to be a vegetarian. I can understand how difficult it must be for all of you to practice the diet indicated by Meishu-sama. And I am in no way forcing it on anyone. I hate faith based on commandments, and I don't want anyone to feel that they have to change their diet when they are not willing to, or when they want to eat certain foods. Please, do eat the food that pleases you and your family. But at the very least, I want you to gain this knowledge about what Meishu-sama said on food, which I believe most of you did not know until today. When you are diagnosed with cancer, for example, or when your health condition does not improve no matter how much you listen to your doctor, or when you are in doubt as to whether the diet you follow is really in accordance with Meishu-sama's will, on these occasions, if you can remember today's message, even if just a little, somewhere in your hearts, that will be much more than enough for me. So please, never feel any pressure as to what you can eat or cannot eat. Eat what you like, please. Our church never had, has, or will have any rules or commandments to follow. And the same goes for the issue of food. I mean, aren't we already freed? Aren't we already freed from such kind of narrow-minded faith thanks to Jesus and Meishu-sama? But when you find yourself trapped, or when you feel like there's no way out in terms of your health, or when you are suffering from any kind of disease, I hope you can recall what you heard today. It might help you then. I believe that is why Meishu-sama had to suffer from certain illnesses and overcome them through a vegetarian diet. Remember, Meishu-sama left the sacred word I cited today for us, for our health. My intention is the same. Meishu-sama said that in the world of Miroku, in the ideal world to come, everyone will turn into a vegetarian. To me, Meishu-sama's sacred word is always sacred and unchangeable. And I believe that this day will come when Meishu-sama's will is fulfilled. I think we have created an image of Meishu-sama that is completely different from the one that is expressed in Meishu-sama's sacred word I cited today. Completely different from the true image of Meishu-sama. The Meishu-sama who wishes for all humanity to turn into vegetarians.
How about that, everybody? What did you get out of this video? It's very different from what we're used to studying and reading in our weekly studies, but as I think it's also very important for us, right? There's a very important message for us from Masaaki-sama for us to reflect on. Right? It's a very special video. As I mentioned in the introduction of this study, food is something that is essential to our daily lives, but do we really think about it, right? Some of us eat 3 times a day. Some of us eat even more than that nowadays, right? But have we really stopped to think about that relationship between us and food and the impact that food has in our lives? You know, one thing that, and I'm just going to share a few things that caught my attention during this video for me to reflect on and go deeper. I mean, the whole video is so important, right? And it's so special. And I look forward for the transcript to come out and we can read it carefully together. But just a few points that really I like to look back on during this video. And the first one is something I had no idea, right? And that's that Meishu-sama turned to a strict vegetarian diet whenever he had any type of purification, as we heard in the video. And of course, when we're talking about vegetarian here, it's important to keep in mind that no eggs or dairy products, right? Because we have this idea of vegetarian where people eat eggs and dairy products in the vegetarian, but this is really no eggs or dairy products, right? So Meishu-sama turned to this strict vegetarian diet, not just once in his life, but whenever he had any type of purification. I thought was, very crucial, right? In a way for us to know. Through Meishu-sama's purification, when he had a lung disease, and Masaaki-sama shared from the sacred word, right? Meishu-sama learned, in quoting from Masaaki-sama's video, that food could affect the health and that great were the effects and advantages over vegetarian diet. Throughout his life, whenever he had any type of purification, Meishu-sama always went on a strict vegetarian diet. Not only that, he cured his wife's illness through a vegetarian diet and also made members who came to receive jorei, that is, members who were sick, practice a vegetarian diet too. Apparently, most of them were cured through a vegetarian diet. This is also something I was not aware of, right? For a long time, I had this idea that Meishu-sama just, channeled a lot of jorei to these members and they got better. But I didn't have this awareness that Meishu-sama was also advising them and encouraging them to change their diet, right? That's a very big thing that caught my attention during this video. Another point that was really an eye-opener was where Masaaki-sama expresses that human nature itself is affected by our diet, right? Meishu-sama, quoting from Meishu-sama's sacred word, Masaaki-sama shares, when vegetables are delicious, people will eat them more. This will change human nature itself. Social evils and diet are related. As the world of Miroku approaches, people will have to eat vegetarian diet. This is also very big, right? Have we ever thought about this direct relationship between what we are putting in our bodies and social evils, right? All these issues that we have in society today, many of them are related and linked to the very foods we eat, right? This is also something that was very, very impactful as I received the sacred word. Another point that really caught my attention was the very fact that this is a lifeline to many of us, right? And one thing that is very important to keep in mind here, as Masaaki-sama says, right? The idea is not saying now you can't eat meat, you can't eat this, or you can't eat that, right? Where he expresses, says, what I don't want you to feel is that, oh, from now on, I can't eat meat, or I have to eat this and that, or I have to be a vegetarian. I can understand how difficult it must be for all of you to practice the diet indicated by Meishu-sama, and I am in no way forcing it on anyone. Please do eat the food that pleases you and your family. But at the very least, I want you to gain this knowledge about what Meishu-sama said on food. which I believe most of you did not know until today. When you are diagnosed with cancer, for example, he says, or when your health condition that does not improve no matter how much you listen to your doctor, or when you're in doubt as to whether the diet you follow is really in accordance with Meishu-sama's will, on these occasions, if you can remember today's message, even if just a little, somewhere in your heart, that will be much more than enough for me. So please never feel any pressure as to what you can eat or cannot eat. Our church never had, has, or will have any rules or commandments to follow. And the same goes for the issue of food. I mean, aren't we already freed? Aren't we already freed from such kind of narrow-minded faith thanks to Jesus and Meishu-sama? Right? This is very big, right? It's not about forcing us to change our diet, but it's also a lifeline. When you reach that roadblock, that dead end, right, regarding your very health. And here Masaaki-sama shares, and he continues, says, but when you find yourself trapped, or when you feel like there's no way out in terms of your health, or when you're suffering from any kind of disease, I hope you recall what you heard today. It might help you then. Right? This is really big. And I believe many of us watching today might have some kind of issue or some kind of illness. And no matter how much we've tried, right? No matter how much we are listening to our doctors, we are feeling those issues. We're going through those experiences. Have we tried looking at what we're eating and changing? And here we're really being given the recipe of as to how Meishu-sama lived, right? How Meishu-sama saw and what importance Meishu-sama had on this vegetarian grain-based diet, as we saw in the video today, right? And I believe it's a key opportunity, right? It's a very special piece for us to reflect, right? And here Masaaki-sama is saying, right, he's not saying just one disease or another. He's saying any kind of disease that you might be going through, right? This might help if you just go toward that. So it's a very special message in that sense, right? But on top of it, right, on top of the diet itself and this view of Meishu-sama and how Meishu-sama saw the vegetarian diet or a diet in general, I think one of the major, most marking points in this video message is where Masaaki-sama shares with us, I think we have created an image of Meishu-sama, he says, that is completely different from the one that is expressed in Meishu-sama's sacred word I cited today. Completely different from the true image of Meishu-sama. The Meishu-sama who wishes for all humanity to turn into vegetarians. Right? I myself had a very different image of Meishu-sama. Through this sacred word, I'm learning even more how much different this image I carried of Meishu-sama and who Meishu-sama truly is, right? This image that comes out so clear now, thanks to the holy seed of Kyoshu, thanks to Kyoshu-sama, thanks to Masaaki-sama in this sacred word, who's making that so clear for us, right? And again, there's no way not to express and feel so grateful for the fact that we have the holy seed of Kyoshu to receive this true will of Meishu-sama, right? Who of us would have known this true will of Meishu-sama for all humanity to turn into vegetarians? And again, it's amazing, right? Because it's not something Meishu-sama ever forced or imposed on. It's a natural process that we're going in that direction, right? This world of Miroku, this paradise on earth, will be a world where all humanity is vegetarian, but not because you're being forced into it or because of some social benefit to that, but naturally we're going in that direction. And how blessed we are to be guided in that, right? And to be nurtured and received by Kyoshu-sama and Masaaki-sama to receive that true will of Meishu-sama. So we are truly being blessed. It's a truly special sacred word. And I really look forward to reading it more and studying it more deeply with you. But in the meantime, let us watch it. Let us receive it. I must have watched it over 6 or 7 times already. And every time I'm grasping something new. And I think it's a very good opportunity for each one of us. So if you haven't had that opportunity to watch it again, please do. The link is available in our description. Share with your family, share with your friends. Who knows, somebody who's going through some situation right now, this could be life-changing for them. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to joining with you next week one more time. May all honor, may all glory be returned to God always.